Let's talk about a question that anyone who's ever tried to get good at anything has asked themselves. What if the way you think you're doing something is just completely wrong? Today, we're going to head to the golf course, of all places, to see how AI is becoming the ultimate truth teller, finding secrets inside a golf swing that even the best players in the world can't feel. Let's get right into it.
It really all boils down to this, doesn't it? Whether you're swinging a golf club, playing the piano, or even just trying to type faster. You feel like you're doing it right. You've practiced it 1,000 times, but the result? It's just not there. This is the big dilemma. What happens when the feeling you've trusted for years is actually the very thing holding you back?
And well, that's the whole ballgame according to our guide today, the golf expert and biomechanical analyst Henrik Jentsch. He basically says that in a sport with razor-thin margins like golf, our own senses can be, the most unreliable witnesses imaginable.
Which sets the stage perfectly for our first big idea, this constant battle between what you feel and what is real. It's really the central conflict at the heart of getting better at any complex skill.
And listen, this is not just a problem for us regular folks. Even the pros, the absolute best in the world, wrestle with this every single day. They might feel like their club is on the perfect path, but some tiny, totally imperceptible wobble is the difference between winning a major and not even making it to the weekend.
So how in the world do you close that gap between feel and real? Well, let's meet a pioneer who made it his mission to find an objective truth.
So who is this guy Henrik Jentsch? He is not your average golf instructor, that's for sure. You've got to think of him as a visionary who spent decades mixing his deep coaching knowledge with this relentless passion for data and how the body moves, making him one of the very first to really go all in on a data-driven way of coaching.
And Jentsch's belief here, it's just total. He's not looking at AI as some fancy new training aid. No, he sees it as the absolute foundation for the future of how we learn and teach really complicated movements.
And this conviction, it led him to embrace a brand new kind of technology, which brings us to our third section, the AI coach arrives.
This slide really just says it all, doesn't it? I mean, think about the old way. To get this kind of deep biomechanical analysis, you used to need a multi-million-dollar lab with sensors all over your body. It was something only the absolute top pros ever got to experience. And now? Now all that power is on the smartphone that's already in your pocket. It's a total game changer, making elite training available to literally everyone.
So how does this whole thing work? It is shockingly simple. You just film your swing with your phone. That's it. The AI Vision engine, which has been trained on thousands of professional swings, instantly analyzes the video and builds a complete 3D model of your body. And then, boom, within seconds you get this full report on over 30 key biomechanical measurements. It's kind of magic.
But data is just a bunch of numbers until it tells you a story. And that brings us to the part of this that I think is the most incredible, finding the hidden flaw.
So Jentsch, the expert, decides to turn this incredibly powerful AI on himself. And even with all his decades of experience, the AI found something he could never see on video and certainly could never feel. A tiny, tiny little error that was having a massive impact on his shots.
And the scale of this error, just look at that. It was less than 1 inch. I mean, think about that for a second. A movement smaller than a golf ball was quietly sabotaging the swing of a world-class expert.
The key here, and this is the whole point, is that this wasn't some big, obvious mistake. It was like a ghost in the machine of his own body. A flaw so deeply hidden, so subtle, that only an AI could ever hope to spot it.
Okay, so here's the breakdown. Jentsch kept hitting shots that would drift off to the right. He couldn't figure it out. The AI pinpointed the exact cause. During his downswing, his pelvis was shifting just 2.5 centimeters, that's less than an inch, too far toward the target. That tiny little shift set off a whole chain reaction, creating too much side bend in his body and physically blocking his hands from releasing the club properly. A mystery he'd been chasing for ages was suddenly solved by pure data.
And this personal aha moment for Jentsch proved a much, much bigger point, which leads us to our fifth section, Pro Tech for everyone.
People call it a coach in your pocket, and that is the absolute perfect way to describe it. It's having the ability to get objective, professional-level feedback anytime, anywhere. You could be on the driving range, at home in your backyard. You don't need to make an appointment. It's just there. And Jentz's whole vision is for everybody to be able to use this. This isn't just for the pros on tour. It's for the weekend player who's just trying to break 90, for the junior golfer who's just starting out, and for the senior player who just wants to keep playing the game they love.
Okay, we're going to get a little bit technical for just a second, but stick with me, because this is the secret sauce. It's something called 6DOF, or 6 degrees of freedom. All that means is the AI isn't just tracking where your body parts are, it's also tracking how they're rotating, the pitch, the yaw, the roll, and that is the real game changer, because a complex movement like a golf swim is all about rotation. This is what allows it to capture the true 3D reality of what's happening.
So, with all this tech, what does it mean for the human coach? Does the AI just make them obsolete? Well, that brings us to our final section, the future of coaching.
And the answer to that question is a hard no. This is not about replacement, it's about partnership. Think about it. The AI is amazing at one thing, giving you perfect, objective data. But it's the human coach who takes that data and gives it meaning, who designs the right practice drills, and who provides the motivation and the human insight that a machine never, ever will. So, the new gold standard for getting better, it's this exact synergy. It's the perfect combination of unbiased, powerful data from technology and the wisdom and interpretation of an expert human coach. It's the best of both worlds.
We'll let Henrik Jentsch himself have the last word here. It's really a call to action. It's not just about using the tech, but about trusting it. Because that, he says, is the only way to find real, meaningful improvement that you can actually measure.
And that brings us to our final thought for the day. Yeah, this story was about golf, but the idea behind it is so much bigger. If an AI can spot an invisible 1-inch flaw in an expert's movement, what other hidden patterns or biases or just plain inefficient habits could it reveal in how we work or how we communicate or even how we think? What else are we all feeling that just isn't real?